How's it going, doggy people? Hope y'all are doing well. Today I'm going to show you how I teach any dog to heel comfortably and by your side. Now this behavior is a bit more advanced than just regular loose leash walking. That's because it requires your dog to pay much closer attention to you and walk in a specific position by your side. Remember, training should be fun for both of you, so take your time with this lesson and don't expect too much from your dog. I don't ask my dog to heel very often, but when I do, I only ask him to stay in that position for a maximum of 15 minutes before he's able to go back into a loose leash sniffing walk. I'm going to be using my Shiba Adonis to show you how I got this little power puller to ease up on the leash. Not only did I teach him not to pull, but he is in fact very, very soft on leash. And in turn, I am very soft when handling the leash, and I keep quiet hands. So if you're ready, then grab your dog, your leash, some treats, a clicker if you use one, and let's get started.
Slow today. Good boy. Good man. Good boy. Good. Good man. Good boy. Up. There's a feet. Good boy. You don't want to go that way? Good boy. Good boy. Good man. Yep. Good boy. Let's go. Hold on. Good. Yep. Yes. Good man. Good man. Good boy. Good man. Hang on. Go. Good boy. Nice boy. Baby, let's go. Good. Good. Good.
So here we are, we're in my hallway. I like to work against a wall because it's easier to help the dog learn to stay close next to us in a certain position. Now in this case, I'm going to be teaching Adonis a new behavior of walking on the right side of me. He knows how he's most comfortable, and I've reinforced most often, for him to walk on the left side. So when I started Adonis, he was used to walking on the left-hand side. I've just always done it that way because I thought that was, that was the way you had to do it. You can walk your dog on either side. I think you should practice on both sides, just like with working with a lot of animals. They have two sides, so you should work each of them equally because in that way they don't get sensitive on the other side, or they get nervous, or they're just not comfortable with it. So Adonis is getting a drink of water, and then we will start shortly here. Good boy. Hey, Adonis, good man. So first, there's certain ways you can teach your dog to go in and walk in the proper position. You can have them go behind you and turn around. I really don't care which way if he does that or if he spins into heel or whatever. That's more of a finishing heel position for competition, to have the dog spin into heel. Personally, for me, it's easier if they just go back and around. Adonis, good boy. If I just have him go behind me. Good man. So you're going to see that when I work with him, I keep my hand, I keep the treat in between two fingers here. I keep my hand flat as a visual for him. So if I have my treat here, I take one step, he follows. I mark and reward. Sorry, my phone was going off. Again, I take another step. Again, sorry, my phone was going off there. Have my hand, another step, he follows, mark, reward. Now, I'm not saying any verbals here just yet because I want to get the behavior down pat. So again, sorry dude, I dropped that one. Let me get that for you. Good boy. So again, it's just in between these two fingers. You can have it in between like this, whatever you want. The hand is just a visual there. We can do an outside turn where I have my hand here. It's empty now. He follows it. Then I can mark and reward. And then we can continue again. I have an empty hand here. We take a step. He follows. And his goal can be to touch the hand, just follow it as a visual. Good boy. He doesn't have to touch it. He's licking it, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. It's just here as a visual target for him because it keeps him in position. He's not going ahead of me. He's not lagging behind. We'll go up one more time, and then I'll show you what an inside turn would look like, where you're turning into the dog. So I'd be turning into him. A lot of times, personally, if I want them to, good boy, move away from me, I just move them back behind me. So we'll do that again, where I turn to face him, I kind of turn into him. I can turn this way, and he just kind of circles back behind me. So I kind of, good boy. I go back and face. So he wanted to go on the left side because he's used to going to the right around me. So if I were to say side, he's used to doing that, and then we walk on the left-hand side. But just for the sake of using this wall and teaching you firsthand with him being on the right-hand side, good boy, heel. Good. So that was an example of using a verbal cue. I don't use this with him a lot, like really ever. Really, it's just the behavior that I just work on with him. Good boy. Yep. Good man. So again, that's him on the left-hand side. And if we want him to work on the right-hand side, then we'll move this way. This is more of a test for myself to see if he understands the verbal cue. On the right-hand side, I can probably use the same thing. So I'm going to have my empty hand. Here is his visual. I'm going to take a step. Heel. Good boy. So I took, 3 or 4 steps. Get that behavior in there. Up. Good boy. Ready? Heel. Good boy. So he's moving with my body, with my hand signal. He's not necessarily moving because of the verbal and the behavior right now. And to show you that, we can test it. Okay, so I'm not going to have the hand. I'm just going to say the cue. Heel. Good boy. So he did follow that time. Well, I'm adding the verbal to it. Heel. Got a little distracted. Good boy. So he's catching on anyway. So I would start with, you start this way with against a wall. So we'll have him go back up against the wall. Good boy. This is real life training, just showing you, teaching him a new behavior. So we're against the wall. We start with the treat in our hand. We take one step at a time, mark reward, then you can increase the number of steps that you do. Then you fade away from the treat by having your empty hand, and you can take one step and then mark and reward, and you work your way up multiple steps, mark and reward. And then you want to fade away from even the hand signal. So you can take one step, mark and reward that. And during this time, I don't give him the verbal yet. You can at any point if you wish. I just really want to have that behavior down. Good boy. I just tapped myself, to gotta go later. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I need to clean his little thing here. This is his harness, but then I can say heel. Good man. Because I know he's gonna follow me with the behavior, heel. Then I can start adding in the verbal, so he pairs it with the behavior. I can try it at the same time with my hand and just say heel. And then you can eventually, take your hand away and then say the verbal cue, heel. Now I saw that he was going to go on that side, so I'm just going to remind him on this side. Good boy, because he knows that heel is on the left-hand side. You can have a different cue for each side. If you wanted this to be right, then we could do the same thing. Right. Good boy. That way he knows to stick close on this side versus this side. If I want to turn into him, then I can turn into him, have him go back and turn himself around next to me. Good boy. In a tight quarter. And then we can just say right. So he's a little distracted. Right. So obviously he doesn't know what that means, so I can have my hand here again. So this is an example of working too quickly. As you'll see in the beginning of the video where I'm working outside, obviously I never, work with him at the park with heel, out in the open like that. Rarely do we ever actually do that, unless we're in, an area like this where it's tight and he's more comfortable and we work. I don't use heel a lot. He doesn't really, I never really need to. If we ever go into a store, okay, good boy. So he's free to go and empty little treats out of my pocket. But, if we ever, when we go into a store, then he just knows, and I have a little bit of a shorter leash, but, he doesn't really pull on it, and I never really have that super focused heel, or the foos, I believe is what it's called, the competition. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Good boy. Thank you. Yeah, he's like, hey, do I have more goodies? So that's how I teach heel. Start by a wall, start indoors, low distractions. Obviously, there's nobody, here distracted. There's no noises. Hermes is asleep, so he's not getting in the way. And start with, I like the hand, just being a visual is right here. It's really easy. Your hand will be here anyway at your side. You take one step with the treat in your hand, mark reward. Another step, mark reward. Another step, mark reward. And you practice that over and over again. And then you can try without a treat in your hand, empty hand, show your dog it's an empty hand. And this is again just the visual, one step, mark reward, so on and so forth. And then you can build up between how many steps you take at each of those intervals or each of those stages when you don't have a treat in your hand. And then you can, your goal is to, if it is your goal, to be able to walk without having your hand there at all. I practice this without Adonis's leash and collar on. I would practice this indoors with the collar on and off. And then later on in life, when you don't have to have your treat right there all the time, or even your hand in that position the whole time, then you can have your leash in whatever hand you want, have it as long or as short as you want. Even when I'm working with Adonis, I think this is a 5-foot leash. So anytime, even if I'm working with Adonis on a shorter leash, say I really want him, or I don't want a whole lot of slack in the leash and I want him just right here. For whatever reason, we're going towards a tight intersection or area, or there's a traffic jam of people and their dogs, whatever. If we're walking and I have this leash here short like this, then even if he knows the behavior, there's still no tension. I'm not holding it back. But the leash is still just short there for safety, for convenience, for whatever reason. Then I'm at the stage now where I don't have to rely on keeping my hand here. If I'm still at the stage like this, then I'm probably not ready to go working in an area that's going to be that distracting anyway. So when I'm ready to move on to more distractions, then you don't have to have your hand there the whole time. Then you can have your leash in your hand like this and start walking little bits, stop, Still give them a reward. That's when you can go across your body or whatnot, but it's easier because, you're not having to constantly, bend across your body every 2 steps to reward your dog. That's just me. So I start indoors, then I would work outside, just outside the front door, just outside the back door, in the backyard, work around the distractions like that. Anytime your dog is focusing on something more than they are on you, or what you're training on, or the treat, or whatever the reinforcer is, then you're working too quickly, as you saw in the video before. At the end of this, you're going to see a video of us just walking in our regular neighborhood. We're not in a park. We're in the walking, one of the 2 routes we walk all the time, just a block around, walk around the block. And Adonis is used to it. He's seen everything and sniffed everything there. So even though he gets a little distracted in it, we're still able to focus on a heel. And I didn't say anything to him. I don't say heel. I don't hold him back. As you see, the leash is loose. It's hanging on a finger. And he chooses to stay there. And while he does, I'm able to reward him. So that shows you when you're doing it right versus, or when you've taken the time to do it. Okay, not necessarily right and wrong, but just when you've taken the time and prepared your dog and you're doing it in an easier sense. You take the time it takes less time. Versus earlier in the video, when you could say I'm doing it wrong, I would say I'm doing it wrong. I'm just working too fast. So I hope this helps. You can see how we do in the next part of the video. When we've done it the slow way, we've prepared our dog, we haven't worked too fast, and you can see the difference between the 2. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you all out. Just understand that heel is one of the more difficult behaviors, along with the recall or come uncalled. Those are the 2, I would say, most difficult behaviors to teach a dog that takes the longest to really master. So take your time. You're not, you're on dog time. It happens when it happens. Just enjoy the progress, and you're going to bond together and be a better dog owner, dog trainer, because you yourself are a dog trainer. And just listen to your dog and listen to the environment. When you're working too fast, dogs keep us honest. Adonis certainly didn't have any problem making me look like crap in that video. And I don't care, because I don't care about that. I'm not in it for competition. And unless you are, and even if you are, just have some fun with it, okay? Don't be super serious. You're not going to get this right away. Be patient. Adonis, you leave him alone. So Adonis and Hermes are wrestling, so I want to go. But thank you again for watching. And until next time, stay positive.
Good. Good boy.